Welcome to the Awakening Table. We are Calliope and Petros. We created this channel as a means to share our experience of going through the dark night of the soul or spiritual awakening in current time, and doing this through an open, raw discussion in a round dinner table style. We do this knowing others are going through it, and we hope that sharing our experiences may help you with your journey.
If you enjoy our videos and content, please show us some love by hitting like and subscribe and the notification bell to be notified when a new video is out. Thank you. And today we'll be talking about dissolving ignorance and allowing acceptance.
Could there be anything more impossible than those two things?
Kind
Dissolving ignorance. I mean, and allowing acceptance. Geez, that's like asking a lion not to be a lion sometimes, is what it feels like.
yeah. And how do you determine what's ignorance and what's real and what's an illusion?
I've,
Do you add that?
oh,
Like,
yeah.
uh,
I struggle with this
mm,
because, you know, what is ignorance? How do you know if you're being ignorant or not, or just being open, well, or just doing life? It's
yeah.
like, but even if you establish that something is ignorance, which the number one thing in a dark night of the soul is when you're trying to control everything and make it all happen and unfold in your time rather than in divine time, that's ignorance that you can force it or rush it, but then it's the hardest thing to let go
Or could be like, well, ignorance is when you're ignoring, like what you just mentioned, hovering it up, controlling the
of.
situation,
Yeah.
where you can just like allow yourself to be patient, prioritize yourself, and then remind yourself to be patient, and then, do a little bit more further research in the things that we are ignorant about.
I think the other difficult thing with ignorance is admitting at times that you are being ignorant. So denying that, you have certain feelings or certain traumas and that you're fine and you can move on to the next steps or whatever. It's the lies we tell ourselves as well to convince ourselves we're okay.
Mm.
That's ignorance as well, I think.
Yeah.
Rather than, as the second part of this topic says,
Um,
allowing acceptance
yeah.
and just saying, you know what, I am hurting, or this will happen in its own time and that's okay. And being okay with that and all the discomfort and the anxieties and the fears and the overwhelm and all that sort of stuff that comes with it.
Yeah. Mm.
Um, I think going through it is also what makes it hard to let go of ignorance or dissolve ignorance and have acceptance.
Yeah, this one's a tough one. I don't know how to describe this one in a sense, but as you were mentioning just before, like being ignorant with certain things that you're ignoring about yourself and maybe sidetracking it with other things. And then, like, for example, I have like, I know there's things I got to work on with myself, and but I'm actually chasing something else. I'm looking for more information. I'm researching, and then I forget. Oh, what about me? Like I forgot about myself. I forgot about my own healing and neglected the part of, doing my self-healing, journaling, acknowledging and feeling the sensations,
Mm.
what am I ignoring in my body, what needs to be nurtured, this and that. So overdoing it
That's a
is
very interesting point because one thing I realized I was doing, and if I told you how many years I was doing this, you'd fall over. But I find myself less and less interested in gaining information and reading because there's a certain ignorance that comes with learning and intellectualizing things, and that is the idea that if I learn new information, that I'm actually practicing it, or that it's the right information and action for me, or the trap that I fell into the most out of all the potential traps of that is that I created these walls and fantasies of I actually of how I was versus how I actually was that I hid behind as well.
mm,
And we've got to remember that the information we read, even if it's thousands of years old and all of that, it's still just information. We've still got to go within by whatever means works for us and get to our truth, which may be completely different to any information we read in our books, which might fill us up with a sense of false fulfillment and accomplishment and sort of like a feel good, sort of like a hit of drugs. We read something that makes us feel good and we think, yep, I'm healing or I'm healed.
Yeah.
I don't mind sharing with everyone. I fell into that trap.
Same. I agree. I like to go deep. I like because I never really had an education. Like I didn't have a proper education, and my schooling wasn't the best. So my my way of learning things is like seeking and analyzing and putting the work together. But mind you, I have been trapped too. I've gone down that rabbit hole, and I'm like, oh my gosh, why do I feel 10 times worse than I did? Like before, and then
It's sort
yeah,
of like we go seeking, but we get so immersed in the external seeking that we mistake it as internal seeking, but it's
mm,
not. It's
mm,
actually a distraction. So, although I do read stuff now with a slightly different purpose, I don't do it anywhere near as much as I used to, and I've tried to replace all that external seeking with sitting with myself and doing the internal seeking. I don't always know what I'm doing, and probably most of the time I don't know what I'm doing, but I trust that eventually, as I chip away, I'll have my breakthrough. But the point being is that I'm not distracting myself as much with external seeking as I am with the internal stuff.
yeah, makes sense. I mean, although I don't mind, the knowledge seeking, I really enjoy doing that because I didn't know that I had that in me, when I started, the dark night of the soul. And I learned a lot about myself that I didn't know about, but definitely the ignorance is, getting trapped into that cycle. And I've done that several times. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I'm isolating myself, but which I don't mind. But then I'm forgetting, the most important part is connection. And,
With self as well.
yes, with
Because that's ultimately what this whole dark night of the
100.
soul is. It's about breaking away all the external stuff, healing the inner stuff, and connecting with arguably for the first time ever in your life with your to use a cliche term, your true self, your authentic self,
Yes.
and actually come to a point of healing, genuine healing.
Yeah. And like I think a few days ago I've had this experience where I was like, I'm gonna do this and then like journaling or, getting to my creativity and before I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing that. And I'm like, by the time I realize I'm like, hang on, I didn't even get to what I was supposed to do. So
Yeah,
I lost track of time with my ignorance and not being aware of it until a little bit later.
absolutely.
So
So there is that, and then there's everyday life ignorance where we make the assumption that things need to be a certain way, they have to be a certain way, and others should be a certain way and understand a certain way. And a lot of that conditioning that we get as we grow up from our families, our friends, our schools, our work, society. This might be a provocative comment, but it's all ignorance,
I
or
mean,
or it's at least wrapped in ignorance, and we look at the that ignorant wrapping and believe that it's how things are or how things should be or that it's truth, but it's not.
but when you think about it,
Mm.
everything is ignorant because how would we know until we experience it and then we go through it?
Yes, so
Yeah.
that is another profound comment you make because at the end of the day, the only way to break ignorance is to first experience it and realize it. So we've got to be ignorant or experience ignorance to then say, hang on, this is ignorance, and I need to break from that or to be able to identify it in a way that it doesn't affect my ability to live, heal, and grow and all of that. Don't know if any of that made sense.
It
You
makes
might you
sense.
might need you might need an aspirin after that. Pause and
No
have one.
aspirin.
Or
Thank you.
whatever the
Appreciate it.
natural alternative is. And if you are using medication, please get doctor's
Just
advice.
just have a
Don't
mint
take
leaf.
our advice.
Mint leaves.
Doctor's advice.
It's fresh.
Mint leaves, there you
It's
go.
minty fresh
Or sniff some eucalyptus.
and soothing for the tummy. Oh, good benefits. It's nature. Um,
We digress. Yes.
but yes, like with this ignorance, like it's okay to accept that you made a mistake and that you ignored certain parts of yourself because maybe it could be that it wasn't the time for you, or you weren't ready to receive it, or maybe you were controlling the situation, you know. And then when you suddenly sit still with yourself and then accepting that and listening, it takes a long time to develop and be aware of and be the observer as well. Like these experiences and these synchronicities happen for a reason, and they're here to learn, teach us a lesson or learn in order for us to grow. And
And that's part of the acceptance aspect of this whole equation, isn't it?
yeah,
It's accepting that you have had ignorance or have lived in ignorance. That's okay. That's part of the journey. And accepting certain truths that are no longer true for you because you see things in a different light through different lenses now. And it's also accepting the truths that are a bit harder to swallow at the moment, whatever they may be for you. Maybe let us know in the comments below what's an ignorance or, and yes, an ignorance that you've had that really challenged you, and how did you get past it? But acceptance is about understanding that there is ignorance. Um, you just got to watch out for it and live non-ignorantly, how
yeah,
whatever that may mean for you.
mm,
But
it
these are the
is.
things, these are the aspects of ourselves that we sort of think, yep, it's for lack of a better term, it's normal, it's part of who we are, but we ignore what's behind it, behind the behavior, and we perhaps ignore that there's something going on, but we choose to believe that we're fine. This is just one example of an everyday ignorance, we choose to believe that we're fine, and that we're perhaps, behaving the right way and things like that. Or that, you know, everyone does it, so therefore it's okay. So, I'm fitting in. But all the meantime, we're suppressing something that needs to be attended to and healed. Um,
And we basically asked ourselves to do the work, and that work is ongoing, and it didn't ask you to be comfortable. And then when you get too comfortable,
yeah,
you get that nudge.
you,
I don't know if you had experience of that, but
we'll call it a nudge.
I always
Feels more like a truck coming into you.
forget. Come on, wake up,
Yeah,
rise, enough with it. And yeah, and you can start to feel the rhythms and the flow, and then you're like, oh,
I
blip, blip,
think
blip.
I
I've
think
got to do something about it.
what I'm sort of starting to realize as I sort of chip away on this journey is that ignorance is about realizing that the truth is not necessarily what you see through your lenses, through your not physical lenses, but through your eyes and your perceptions, your judgments, your what do you call them?
Self-doubt.
Your
No.
through your filters
No.
and through your prejudices and all of these things, that there is a bigger reality beyond that, and it's coming to truth, or coming to peace with that, and finding a way to connect to that with the deeper self, not the self that connected to the false perceptions, and developing that acceptance.
There's a lot of development, and a lot of these developments is like climbing up a ladder. So you go for one development, you fall over sometimes, and then you go up the development, and you probably fall over again, and you go up and up and up. And you think that everything's, going really well, you do well for a while, and then suddenly you're over here again, and then you start again, So
Kind of like the stock market. You're going up and down, but as long as you're doing the work, you're slowly, constantly going up anyway,
yes,
until you reach, I suppose, a point.
yes,
But we're always constantly evolving as well. So
exactly. That journey is a lifetime. I mean, you could like, you can be completely healed, but you're always going to experience something that will teach you something in your
yeah.
life. So,
So it's also remaining consistent in ensuring that we don't fall into a state of ignorance and always be checking in on ourselves
mm,
and challenging ourselves and our beliefs and our judgments and our prejudices and all of that, and trying to be more open-minded, more curious and explorative, and allowing things to be how they are.
yeah,
Um, it's a tough one. This is a tough topic, this one. And it's a constant practice, I think.
yes. And the other one I would say is an ignorant thing is like uh, generational traumas. Like you can think that your trauma started from here, like childhood, let's say. But then there's more, like it could be from when you're in the womb, or could be from maybe, if you believe this or not, like past lives. Or maybe it's generational, as in a sense, your family, your great great grandmother, all that. And then you try to connect the dots and see, in your family like lifestyle and what you can change about yourself so that the pattern doesn't repeat. So I mean,
Mm.
there's a tough work, to figure that out and do the self healing and nurturing the inner
Yeah,
child and
correct. In the context of this topic, if it's understanding that some of the ignorance we got to break, as Calliope said, goes back from past generations in our bloodline, and the first step is to acknowledging that there is some traumas there, or there is some ignorance, if we can use that term instead, there that need to be first of all acknowledged and then attended to, if we're going to truly sort of dissolve ignorance and not continue the cycle and move into a position of or a place of acceptance.
Mm,
But that's going very broad. Which,
yes,
in the context of Dark Night of the Soul, it's about you and
yes.
what you need to do.
In order to, heal all those experiences that you're going through personal on a personal level. So
Yeah,
it's a journey and it can get tough. You have moments where you just feel exhausted, you feel tired, you feel like you just want to cry, but it's not like a cry like, oh, I want pity from you. None of that. It's a cleansing, I'll say, you know.
it is dissolving ignorance, whether it's admitting to any trauma-based stuff or just normal everyday social upbringing stuff. It is a cleansing, and it's a healing cleansing because you're breaking free and you feel different, you see things differently, you live differently when you do. But it's a work in progress. We're certainly continuing to chip away at it, and we hope you do too.
And accepting, the mistakes is very important. And just have a laugh at yourself. Like, okay, maybe this is a side of myself that I thought, was I didn't like, but you know what? That's your essence. So like you can say, I like that part of my me about me, myself, and then it doesn't matter what other people think or project on you, So that's that takes time to build as well. And yeah, so accepting that and loving yourself with a little bit more and being more kinder. Yeah,
That's all part of the process.
it's part of the process.
All right,
Yeah,
that's it.
that's it.
All right. Well, as we said, share below an ignorance that you had. I'm sure there was more than one, but what's one in particular that really stood out for you and challenged you the most? And what did you do to get through it? Let us know down in the comments below.
Yes, and send us a like, share it to your friends. Feel free to write a comment, and yeah, just subscribe, like, and smile.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Peace be with you.
Like